I'm here with Greg from Axial Bikes, and we're going to ride some trails and do a little interview to learn more about him and his business and his approach to making custom frames. Have a good one. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day. So Greg, when did you start building frames?
First one I built was probably back in 2005 in college, but I've only started, more seriously right at the end of 2019.
What's the best part about being a frame builder?
I've always been into some kind of artistic, type of thing, and I think it's just that problem solving, and it's like art and science combined in a way.
So let's talk about the frame you built me. Any special things going on there?
Yeah, there's quite a few things on that frame. The whole rear end is custom bent.
Oh, sweet.
Especially to be able to get, well, first of all, there's the yoke, which comes from Cobra frame.
Oh, sweet. He's such a rad dude.
And then, yeah, there's the 1/2" chain stays, 035 wall. So they're meant to be really flexy. They're kind of even small for road bike.
That's the way I like it.
But the seat stays really are they're just completing the triangle. So
yeah,
all your strength really needs to come in the chain stays.
All right, cool.
Yeah, the other main thing about your bike is just about as short as possible on the chainstay length.
Yeah,
shorter I imagine than you can actually get on with 29. So you could throw on some try a mullet setup on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what I got it to, but like 416 with 2.8s, and it's really nimble. But the sliders mean you could also lengthen that out a bit.
Yeah, totally. I imagine you've learned a few things about bikes since you started building them.
Oh yeah.
What have you learned?
Oh yeah, great question. Number one is geometry is everything.
Yeah.
Suspension is definitely second or third to geometry. There are trails I've ridden faster on the bike I'm on, Hardtail, than I have on full suspension bikes.
I totally
up and down
agree.
And gnarly stuff. And
totally. People don't believe me when I say that on the channel. They're like, why do you ride hardtails when full suspensions are better?
Yeah, it's really like, the logic was always you should start on a hardtail to improve your skills. And
right?
The reality is it certainly does improve your skills. Otherwise you'll be, bending your wheels all the time.
Yeah.
And I was just out in Moab on Porcupine Rib.
Yeah.
And, everyone was surprised I'm on a hardtail, but I was going faster than they were on their full suspension. So.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say like a custom built hardtail where you can really get it to flex.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the phrase steel is real, but when you compare a mass produced steel frame that has to be ISO certified
yeah.
versus what you build, it is night and day difference.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between running 5 to 7 more PSI in your tires.
That's right.
Woo! Tell me about your favorite bike you've built so far.
That's a hard one. I've got a really aggressive gravel bike that's really fun because it's you can do single track, you can do road rides, you can do anything on it. And it's just light and nimble. I have to say, actually, the electric cargo bike I built probably gets ridden more than anything now.
That's cool.
It's just so useful to, and where I live in Canyon City, you can just ride everywhere, and it doesn't take more than 5 minutes longer on the bike. I just built this sort of do-everything drop bar bike. It's got couplers so you can travel with it.
Oh, sweet.
And amazing thing about that is I had a Surly Traveler's Check, which is a similar concept.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore, but
yeah.
It's the cross check with the couplers on it.
So couplers are where you can disconnect the frame and cut it in half, essentially.
Yeah, and then put it in a box that's the size of a wheel, essentially.
That's sweet.
So you don't pay extra, you know, for sports equipment on airlines that charge it.
Right.
But you know, the difference in the weight between that Surly and my bike.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
There's like a pound of difference.
Surleys are notoriously heavy, and
Yeah.
I just figure they use black iron pipe. They're so heavy. Oh, what a day. Here, I'll let you lead for a little while. We'll just follow the trail. We go that way.
All right.
No pressure. Go at your own pace. Oh, so fun. Nice. So tell us a little bit about the bike you're on.
Yeah, so this is kind of a really aggressive trail geometry. It's like a 64-degree head angle, 140 fork, 29 by 2.6.
Sweet.
It's like 435 chainstay, so it's pretty long.
Oh, you ride it well. It's a beautiful bike.
Yeah, thanks. It's a fun one.
Nice. So if someone wants to chat with you about building a custom bike, what's the process?
Yeah, they just reach out on the website and, you know, we'll communicate by email. I've got a whole fit form, and, you know, we talk about what you're looking for, what kind of trails you ride, how you like a bike to feel. I think, you know, you might have a sense of like what numbers mean something, but really it's more about how do you want a bike to feel. And that's going to be relative to what size you are.
Yeah, so if someone's not all up to speed on geometry and know what angles they like, you can help them with that.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice. So who's the ideal customer for a custom frame, do you think?
Anyone who loves bikes, really, and wants to be, you know, just wants to take their cycling to the next level of doing what they want to do on a bike. For some people, it's like there's not a market for the particular bike you're after.
Right.
Might be a bike packing bike that just doesn't quite exist. Especially if there's like, you know, like with Tour Divide bikes, you know, everyone's modifying something, which just kind of shows there isn't a perfect bike that's been made for that race. Or, you know, riding the long, you know, Continental Divide or Colorado Trail. If you're going to be on a bike for a long time, it makes sense to make it fit.
Totally.
And I've even found that, you know, like on one of the early mountain bikes I built was just too aggressive with the seat tube angle. And it just killed my knees.
Yeah.
Even after an hour, it was like, it took a week to recover from riding it. So
that's so interesting. I hear so many people say that, but my knees hurt when I don't use one.
Really. And that's where it's like, you know, if you know that, if you've ridden a few bikes.
Yeah, you know, I'll echo that. Anytime you viewers get a chance to ride a buddy's bike, do it. You'll notice differences, and then you'll be like, hey, was that the fork or the geometry or the bar setup?
Yeah.
And you'll start to learn what you like and what works for you and how different things ride and how different bikes handle with different geometry.
Yeah, and there's ways you can play with it too. Like if you swap out your dropper for a regular seat post. And get a setback one. You can play with the effective seat tube angle and see how that affects you, whether you want it more forward or back.
Totally. This dropper I'm on, 9.8, they make an offset head.
Nice.
That you can put on it to experiment with that. I actually had a custom frame made with too steep of a seat angle.
Yeah.
We put that on and it effectively made it 76 degrees, which I like.
Well, and that's another place where if you're on a Brooks saddle, for example, those push your saddle forward no matter what.
Interesting.
And it's sort of well known, like you need a setback versus any other brand of saddle.
Interesting. I've never owned a Brooks.
Yeah, so if you love riding Brooks, then when you build a custom bike, you're going to want a slacker seat tube angle to make up for that.
Interesting. And a lot of people say, well, why are frames 2,000 plus when they're steel and they're custom, and I could just go buy a Kona for 600 or 700?
Yep.
Well, that's because one man is building this piece by piece to your specs. And when that's a lot different than sending a drawing to China and saying, make 500 of these as fast as possible, and they're all exactly the same. And so that's why they're custom, just like custom anything, custom clothing, custom
That's right.
glasses. Like if you need glasses, you don't want to just get off the shelf glasses.
Right.
And if mountain biking is your thing, a custom bike, I can't emphasize enough how a custom bike's just the next level above everything else available.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of it depends on what you value. You know, there's more ways to value something than by money alone. So if you want a pretty much made in America bike, you know, we can get American steel rims and brakes, and I'm not sure there's any American tires, but pretty much, you know, an entire bike can be made in America if that's something you value.
That's a great point.
And that's the other part too of, you know, the part of the money just comes in, you know, pay someone a living wage for the work they do, and living wages cost different in different places. So
well said. If you're a nerd like me and Greg, and you think about things like, oh, wouldn't that be cool if I could fit a water bottle here, or if everything was internal, or if it had a split in the frame so I could run a belt drive, custom builders are willing to push the envelope way more than a big bike manufacturer. All right, let's go ride some more.
Sweet.
Have you ever brazed frames, or have you always TIG welded them?
I've done 1 or 2 brazed. I like the look, and sometimes I actually do a mixture sometimes, especially on the rear triangle. If you use hooded dropouts like your bike there has and my bike here has, the intersection can get kind of messy. If it's so close to the edge, you end up blowing out the lip of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so that's a place where brazing can just create a really nice organic flow to it. I mean, I think that's the only benefit to brazing is the appearance of it.
Yeah.
It's not as strong, but
I was wondering,
nice.
yeah, what are like strength, or is there a ride characteristic? Probably not, because joints are supposed to be joined, not flexing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess theoretically, you're adding a lot more mass at your joints, which could make it stiffer potentially.
Okay.
You're also not allowing any flex in those areas because there's so much material buildup. With TIG welding, there's almost no extra material.
That's true.
And ideally, because you're when you TIG weld it, you don't use 4130. Normally, you use mild steel filler rod,
right?
Because you're introducing an ability for it to flex. Because the 4130 is more brittle, you want the mild steel there to ensure your joints don't wear out and crack. So it could be that, yeah, TIG could be a little more flexy in that way.
Are TIG frames noticeably lighter than brazed frames, or is it such a minimal amount where you couldn't even tell the difference?
I mean, it could depend on the brazes you do, because if you're really building it up artistically, you could add a lot of material. But I've never, you use like 1 or 2 rods, and you think like a case of rods is 1 pound, right?
Right.
And you're using maybe like, I don't know, it's not a huge
tenth
amount
of a
weight.
pound, yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It's amazing how far one of those rods ends up going. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's good following you. I'm pushing, doing things I wouldn't do by myself, but
oh, good.
Feel confident doing it. So
yeah, I can scrape you up off the ground.
When you've ridden a new trail, you just don't know.
So do you think it's easier to sell a custom gravel bike or a custom hardtail? Like, which client is more into the custom stuff? Okay, this climb's impossible.
Okay. I'd say the custom hardtail is definitely a easier sell.
It's not fair. I bring people on my local trails and I look like a hero and you have no idea what gear to be in.
I know, well, I wasn't not in the gear for that one.
No, it's fine. You wouldn't know. Let's trade bikes. I want to ride that thing. You're hating my steep seat angle, I know. But that's why we go custom, right?
Yeah, it's not bad for now. Short term.
Oh, this thing's cushy.
Yeah, this thing is nimble.
These grips, I'm gonna have to get me some. I've ridden them before, but...
Yeah, those are they call them like the cam carve or something, because they're, you know, they're not fully round. They're cut off where your fingers
I like
go.
that little triangular spot for your knuckles.
Yeah.
My first time riding the Hayes Dominions. I've been wanting to try these. These are rad.
Yeah, they're real nice.
Oh, this bike's smooth. It's fun. Both of these bikes are awesome. They ride differently and they're both awesome for different reasons.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want me to rank all my bikes. Which one's better? That's like saying, what's better, Mexican food or Chinese food?
Yeah.
It really depends. Oh, this bike rides great.
Yeah, it's definitely a cush bike.
No surprise. It's awesome.
And I think that shows what you can do with a hardtail.
Oh, totally.
I've never felt really bad arm pump or anything on that bike.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing's got a little longer wheelbase, so it likes linking swooping corners. And what you have to do on a longer wheelbase bike is initiate the turn before the corner so that the back end's ready by the time you get to it. Very stable ride. What a great all-rounder you built here.
Yeah.
This thing's cool. I'm excited to throw a leg over the one you built for me.
And really, like, between these two, like, you can tell how much geometry is changing the ride feel.
100%.
And I feel like it's probably less the material and more that this is a short bike compared to that one.
Yeah, well said. A lot of people get too hung up on frame material, probably because it's easier to understand than geometry.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing shreds. Thanks for letting me ride that. What a beautiful,
Yeah, thanks for letting me ride this.
beautiful bike.
I've only rode my clampers on a road gravel bike.
They're pretty dang powerful, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm crazy, and I am. Well, so this is your chance now, Greg, to tell the viewers a little bit more about you and your company and why they should pick you and what you can do for them. This is your moment to pitch your company.
Thanks. Yeah, I try to make my bikes as specialized to you, but also as versatile as we can. You know, it doesn't cost a lot to add a couple more bottle mounts if you want to eventually get a bolt-on bag, custom bag, things like that. Just to say, you know, like, if a bike's good, you know,
Right.
use it for more than one thing.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Thanks.
You were great to work with. It was really straightforward, getting the bike to the specs that I wanted. It looks killer, and I can't wait to take it out on a bike packing trip and take it out on the trails and review it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming out to Sedona. It's been fun getting to know you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Super fun seeing the human behind the brand.
Yeah. And I think that's another value to think about is, like, you know, you as a consumer are helping to make long-term industry decisions.
Well said.
And if you like the sort of independent spirit of biking and, you know, keeping things friendly, keeping things local, keeping it low key, that's definitely a place to say it's going to cost a little bit more, just like your local bike shop.
Right.
But if you like that, you know, friendly, personalized service, you definitely look for an independent frame builder for that.
Greg, it's been awesome riding with you.
Thanks, Steve.
Your work is beautiful. It's been awesome getting to know you, and I'm excited for our viewers who love hardtails to learn about another great custom builder. especially if you're in Colorado, it's your home state. And even if you're not, you want something built in the U.S., custom to you, give them a look. I got a link in the description below, axialbikes.com.
That's right.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, everybody. There's a party in the mountains, and you're invited.